Hello, everyone. So let me just quickly start by the fact that success has many fathers. And I heard stories about how this HANA TechCon was born. I have my own version. So basically, as a developer advocate, I was focused on HANA for a long time. I was coming to this previous Code Connect with ABAP and with UI5Con and Recap and so on. And then I thought, we need a conference for our HANA community as well. And then I talked to Matthias Kemeter, and because he was the guy who was responsible for engineering of multimodal functionality in HANA, and I told him, you know what, we need to do this. And he was like, yeah, how do we get community? I said, York has community here in Mannheim. Let's start with that. Yeah. So this is my version. And I'm really glad that this event is the success. And what I'm even more happy is that Matthias forgot that I suggested this, and then he took full responsibility for organizing everything. And I was there just to be the jury member and just to enjoy my time there. So, nevertheless, this session is about one of the very few that has AI in the name. There are very few that has an AI in the name because, as I mentioned, I was in jury selecting the sessions, so I tried to move away all the sessions that would have AI, but how could I not accept ours? So this is why we are here. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, hi, I'm Nora. I'm a developer advocate as well, just like Witalij. And I usually focus on AI topics, and I'm happy to be here and also do something with HANA, because I actually used to be a consultant, and I used the predictive analysis library a lot in my consultancy days. I think it's one of the most underrated AI products of SAP. I really hope that marketing starts talking about it more, and while they don't talk about it, I try to talk about it every time. So yeah, we had the idea to just add it as a tool to an agent, and I'm really, really sorry, I apologize already, but I will be using the word drool today.
No need to apologize.
Yeah, that's
okay.
me.
And as I mentioned, my name is Witalij, I'm just Nora's driver. Okay, so talking about AI, the concept of agents is not new, right? Even though this book says artificial intelligence and modern approach, and this is the book where the agents were described for the very first time in the context of AI, how many of you know this book and know from which year it is? No, it's actually a 1995 book. But yeah, from today's perspective, 74, 95 sounds equally ancient. And this is where, for the very first time, they described that AI can be done for agents as well. Again, it was 30 years ago. And basically, the whole idea is that agent has an environment with which it interacts. It has some goal to achieve. And it just goes in this loop, doing something in this environment, getting the response. And if response is not the final goal, it just keeps in this loop again and again and again. But now we have these modern agents. Nora?
Yeah.
You want to explain?
Me? Okay, sure.
This is your slide.
I thought you want to do that. Yeah, so usually I obviously right now build a lot of agents because there's a lot of pressure on these guys recently. And the question I always get is like, how do these agents work? As if it's like a black box, and no one really knows what's happening in there. I'm sure most of you know, but I will just quickly explain it so that we have everyone in the room on the same page. It's actually very, very simple. So you have a user input or some event triggers. An agent can be really anything. In our use case here, it's a user input. Then you have the agent. The agent has usually like a very big agent prompt with all the instructions, how it's supposed to behave, what it's not supposed to do, and whatever. You can kind of like set the scene for the agent, how to behave. Then the agent obviously has a memory, which is important, especially when you start calling tools, and then has a very big list of tools. These tools can be anything, can be MCP servers, it can be other agents, it can be, for example, a model that you trained in HANA PAL, maybe. It can be API calls, really whatever you want the tool to be. And then that agent obviously has a brain, which is the large language model. And then what happens is the user input comes in, the agent sends the agent prompt, plus all the tools available and everything that it might have done before, to the LLM. The LLM decides which tool to call, or if it even needs to call a tool at all to answer that question, sends that back to the agent. The agent does the actual tool call. The tool sends something back, right? Like, for example, in our case, am I allowed to say it already?
We will show.
Okay, well, it will send something back. Whatever that sent back, the agent will send the memory, the agent prompt, all the tools it has available, everything it did until now, back to the LLM. The LLM decides, is that enough information to answer the question? Or do I have to call another tool? And it goes like that in loops forever, right? And then at some point, the LLM says, OK, cool, we can answer the question now. And then the agent sends it back to the user.
Lovely.
Cool, OK. Love these sidekicks that I have here.
OK, so how many of you have worked with agents so far? OK, about 70%. Now, 3 things that Nora said agents are using. Memory, 1. 2. LLM as a brain, 3. OK, they listened. That's a good sign. I think yeah, sorry. And then, obviously, Christian, you would be much better now explaining this slide, but I will do this just shorter, OK? And then SAP HANA, like you heard about in memory already when Christian was presenting, but in my opinion, one of the main innovations that happened with HANA was the push down of the processing, right? This is where we keep processing where data resides. And machine learning embedded into SAP HANA was one of the very first libraries that happened to be implemented there. Because HANA is an SQL database, so basically the whole communication with the PAL library, machine learning, that allows you to train machine learning models on data residing in HANA tables, is happening through SQL communication. But then we know that lots of us like abstractions and simplifications. Therefore, HANA machine library, HANA ML, Python library is a simplification abstraction on top of SQL. And then, as you will see, we will introduce as well HANA AI library, which is another abstraction and simplification on top of this HANA ML. So this PAL was there for quite a while. How many of you have used PAL? OK, we hope that after this session, you will give it a chance. And there are, you need 2 for tango, right? So once you are building the AI-based solutions, the one persona that you need is a data scientist. And this is personified by me right now here on the stage. So I'm wearing the hat of the data scientist, and data scientist is the one who is looking at the data and then building the model, training the model out of this data. And then once this model is done, hand over to AI engineer, personified by Nora today. And this is where you now develop the final solution that is using this and put this into production. And Christoph, I know, I stole this slide from you. So credit goes to you. So who are the 2 personas we need? What? Data scientist and AI engineer. And I really want you to learn this AI engineer thing. I kept saying, like, this is your regular application developer, but you just know how to call API of machine learning model, and then you are AI engineer. And once you are AI engineer, your LinkedIn profile is much more valuable. So remember that. OK. Now, let me just go to the thing. I executed this notebook already, but OK, it is not visible. Just let me change the presentation. I believe I need to mirror it like that. So let me go into Zen mode so that you can see it a little bit better. OK, just not yawning in the first row, OK? Although on the code jam, one guy in the first row was falling asleep, so I don't know what is worse. So first thing first, we are using here the new library that was available, I believe, since beginning of this year. It is a Python library called HANA AI. And HANA AI allows you to use the natural language instead of learning all the procedures from HANA ML. Basically, this is the agent with the tool, memory, and LLM, and brain. OK. So you can see that I import HANA AI. But what is most important is once we are getting to the LLM, right? So we are initializing LLM using SAP BTP AI Core. And then we are defining tools. So we've got LLM, we've got tools, and then this chatbot has memory. And this memory here is actually based on the persistency in the local MD files. So you can see that it writes everything to this file, what happened. Why? Because brain has no memory, at least in LLMs, right? So that every time you go to and ask LLM something new, it forgot already what you asked before, right? So you need to have this external memory here as well. And then let me just go back to our notebook. So this is where it got memory in the form of persisting files. And then you can see that I instantiated a chatbot as an agent who is using this LLM and using these tools. And then this chatbot is getting questions or requests or prompts like, I want to upload this CSV file. Create database tables for me. Just look at what the types should be. And then it just like goes. And then it says, OK, I used this CSV file. I created a table in SAP HANA. And if you look in SAP HANA, then yes, this table is here. And then I'm saying in the natural language, I want you to split this data into test and train data sets. Do this by ordering the time column and split this 80 to 20. It does just that. And then I'm telling it, blah, blah, blah. This is all irrelevant for our demo. And then I'm saying, now look at this data and tell me which of the time series forecasting algorithms that are available in HANA PAL is the most suitable. And then it does this analysis, and then it says, yep, there are two methods that can be used. So this is the one that I suggest. And then I'm telling, so use the suggested method to train the model, and then the model is created, model training is completed, and I can ask, so where is this model stored? And it tells me, yeah, it is stored in these tables up here. So you see that what is happening in Python is indeed materialized in HANA. And I see that I opened the wrong notebook because it shows some errors here as well, but it's real, right? So basically what happened here is, so we've got the Jupyter Notebook, and Jupyter Notebook has this HANA AI library, which just communicates to orchestration service in AI core as the as the external brain, and then this AI library translates my natural language into specific HANA machine learning Python code that is executed in SAP HANA Cloud, and this is where model resides, and this is where my job of data scientist is done. My salary is coming, and I'm handing this over to AI engineer.
Okay.
Is there a question already? Or this is just outside of the room?
Outside, I think. Or is there a question? No? Okay, cool. Okay, so now that we have the model in HANA PAL, I wanted to use it in my agent, right? So I built an agent using these things. Let me just quickly guide you through it. Okay, so we have, first of all, the AI engineer, that's me. Oh, you took out the laptop part. I wanted to make a joke about that, but that's fine. That's okay, too. So I built an agent using Generative AI Hub on AI Core. I used, everyone knows Generative AI Hub, right? Where we have all the LLMs. When you want to use an LLM at SAP, you use the AI Core extended version, and then you have Gen AI Hub, and you can call all the different models. So I used that, and what I used was also a gateway called Light LLM. Who has heard of Light LLM? Okay, not that many, cool. So LiteLLM is pretty cool. It's basically a library that you can use to connect between large language model providers and all the AI agent frameworks that are out there. So a lot of them are compatible with that. So like LangChain and LangGraph, Pydantic, CrewAI, Strands SDK from Amazon, Google Agent SDK, all kinds of SDKs you would maybe want to use are compatible with LiteLLM, and SAP is also now compatible with LiteLLM as well. So that's pretty cool, because then you can use all the agent frameworks to build your agents using the LLMs from GenAI Hub. And that's what I did today. I use LangChain and LiteLLM. And then I obviously added a tool. I will show you the code for that in a second. And that tool is calling the PAL model. And then what we will do is we deploy this agent to Cloud Foundry using the A2A protocol, because then our agent can actually be discovered by other agents, and then we will add Joule on top to call that agent. Cool? Who has added a capability to Joule before? Huh, cool. I thought no hands would go up. I mean, yours I knew, but OK. Yeah, and with that, let's actually go right into the demo. So here's my code. Is that big enough? OK. OK, so here, as we can see, I'm using LiteLLM and LangChain and HANA-ML, the library to call the model through my tool. And I use something that's actually pretty cool. It's this create agent package of LangChain, which basically takes all these like loops and memory and all the things you would usually have to take care of away from you, and you can just build a very simple agent. So it's not like in LangGraph where you can influence and basically have a lot of control over your graph. It's a very simple one that just goes in simple loops, can use tools. But for our use case, it's perfectly sufficient. So I'm using that. And then here you can see that I'm actually using the model that he just showed. Yeah, what else do we have? Connecting to HANA. Here's my tool. So I'm actually making the prediction from the PAL model. And what else is important here? Oh yeah, my system prompt. So I'm basically telling the agent what he's supposed to do. So he's like a time series forecasting assistant connected to HANA Cloud, blah, 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 and then some instructions in case there's not enough information given by the user. Here I'm initializing the model. And then this is really everything that you have to tell the agent. So the system prompt, it only has one tool for now, and the LLM is the brain. And as you can see, the memory part is missing here because that's being taken care of by this library already. So very simple code. What else did I want to show you for that? LangChain, LiteLLM, I mentioned. That's good. OK, now we want to deploy that to Cloud Foundry, right? So what we do is we need the A2A protocol so that the agent is actually also callable. Otherwise, we would only have an API, which would be boring, because everyone has to do A2A now. OK, so the most important piece for an agent, if you want it to actually be discoverable, is the agent card. So you need all these things here to build your agent card. Then I'm importing my agent, obviously. What else is important for you to know? Oh, yeah. I think that's probably it. If you want to know more about it, I can share the code with you later. I don't think that's very important. OK, so here, now that's actually important. This is our agent card. And this is where you basically tell other agents what your agent is capable of doing, so which tools that agent has available, which tasks it can complete, and how that agent should be talked to. So what input that agent needs. If it needs JSON input or text or Markdown or whatever, you can just tell the agent here what the other agents, what your agent needs, right? OK, and with that, we can actually already deploy that to Cloud Foundry. That's everything. Actually did that already. And if we jump over to Cloud Foundry, we can. I'm actually using multiple different sub-accounts here today. And obviously, I didn't log in. Oh, great. The app is, I think, here. OK. Yeah, cool. OK, so here's my app that I deployed. This is our agent A2A endpoint, right, where it's running. And we actually have something that's pretty cool. It's called the, hold on, let me copy this. A2A editor. Who has heard of the A2A editor? Nice. So the A2A editor is something that SAP built. It's basically an open source tool that we contributed to together with the European Union. And what you can do here is just check whether the agent that you deployed somewhere, like we did now on Cloud Foundry, if that is actually working the way it's intended to work. So basically what I can do is I can just add my URL here. And then nothing happens. Oh, that's the wrong. Huh? There's a 2 in there? Oh, there's 2. Yeah, I know, because I edited the other. I mean, I obviously edited yesterday to test it.
Good eye. You will get the chocolate plate.
OK, so here you again see your agent card, so whatever the other agents will see when they discover your agent using that URL. And then here you also have the chat function. Now you have to know there's no LLM connected to this, because anyone can just use it and call this URL. And this is really just sending whatever text you have here right to your model. So if your model, for example, if your A2A server can only receive JSON, here you have to actually paste a JSON, because there's no LLM that can convert it to anything, OK? But mine actually just takes anything, so I'm just going to say, give me the forecast for August 2026. Well, almost August. That's the cool thing about LLMs, right? Remember when you actually had to fix all the typos, because otherwise the chatbots wouldn't understand you? You don't have to do that anymore. Now it's taking some time, because he added data last night. That's not my fault. It was a lot faster yesterday.
It's never yours.
OK, cool. Now we can see that someone should add a Markdown interpreter to this open source tool. Whoever built this, hopefully you heard that. But technically what we get back is a table with the predictions. It just looks very ugly now. And then some summary down here. And now, since we can actually confirm that our A2A server is running perfectly fine, we can add it to Joule.
And if it will not run, this is my fault.
Exactly. Always his fault. OK, so obviously I'm adding this to the Joule. OK, first of all, let me show you. Let's go back to my app account. It's actually not in here. It's in here. I just want to show you that I actually have a Joule instance here, so that I'm actually adding it to Joule, and it's not just some random UI, OK? OK, so here I have Joule, and the service is actually running. Cool. And down here, I have my Joule service key. That is only for SAP internal. If you want to do it, you have to add this app in your IIS tenant. If you want to know how to do that, there are really cool blog posts by Felix Bartler. If you Google A2A Joule SAP, I think, there should be already the blog post. There's not that much content on that, right? So yeah, that's the blog post. If you want to know more about it, it's really good, very detailed. We'll tell you everything you need to do. Some more photos. OK, I'll wait. Yeah, OK, that's basically what I did. Whatever he did, I did. So in our code, we add this Joule folder. And now you have a lot of really interesting files here, but the ones that are actually important. Hold on, let me check. So first you actually need to create the scenario. The scenario is very important, because with this description, if this description is bad, Joule will not find your agent. So this description basically tells Joule when to call this capability. Descriptions are important. OK, and then obviously it also tells Joule when this text fits the input question of the user, and this capability should be called, which function does it then have to run? And it's this function. So then we jump over to our function YAML, and here I have a system alias that I added somewhere. Hold on, here. And it's actually calling a destination in BTP. So we jump over to BTP and check if there's a destination that has the name forecast agent. And we go to destinations. There is a forecast agent. Actually, fun fact, yesterday, my URL had a dash at the end here, because, I don't know, something went off when I pushed it to Cloud Foundry. And then when I did the connection check, it told me it's not a safe connection. Took me a while to figure that out. Yeah, but now it's all working and all fine. So this is the URL that we deployed the agent to, right? It's the same we just used in the A2A editor. Everyone still following? I feel like I lost some people. OK, cool. OK, now I think we're done. Oh, yeah, now we can actually just launch Joule. So let's try that. Oh, where are we, actually? No idea. I think. There we are. OK. Yep, that looks good. See what we have here. It should be a lot, because I read a code jam on Monday where some people also deployed Joule capabilities. And there's our agent. So we can say Joule, launch. And then we want to launch this one, right? Okay. Looks good. Okay, yeah, I ran this actually before already. Let's create a new one. Oh my God, how much time do I have?
Very good.
Okay, and now we can ask it any question. For example, give me the forecast for, I don't know, July, or actually, do we say August again? August and September. I don't want to ask the same question. Okay, and now we wait. Actually, Witalij told me waiting is good because then you can get a coffee. We talked about it yesterday.
Do you want it black or white?
With oat milk, actually.
Okay, I'll be back.
No, they only have fly here. You won't find it.
I mean, by the way, it takes time. You know, I will go to WDF.
Yesterday we had a team dinner, and then actually DJ and Tom told me about how back then when they got a memo, like a reorg or whatever, they would wait for an envelope that was sent out. And because my question was actually, did you work before there were emails? And they were laughing. Yeah. Okay, cool. Look at that. Yeah, and now we actually had Joule call the destination called the A2A server, the A2A server had our agent inside and called the PAL model in HANA. A lot of calls here, but it worked. So yeah, that's how you can add a PAL model to Joule, actually. We should have changed the title.
We what?
We added a PAL model to Joule. Okay.
Can I switch back to my laptop?
Oh, you want to switch back?
Yes, sorry about that.
He has more stories to tell you. Don't go away just yet.
So, because your Joule story got applauses and mine didn't, now I feel pressure, especially that our manager is recording all of that. So, how many of you understood my story that I was sharing and presenting? Okay, 3, 4, 5 people. I don't blame you, because I opened the wrong notebook. I was going through some wrong outputs, and I was telling you something completely different. So if I was confused, you are completely excused to be confused as well. Now, the only question, if I can, if I connect my, okay, it was just a cable problem.
Yep.
So now I'm on the right one, but I promise I will not go through this once again. But at least the story that I was telling, you as a data scientist, you have this Jupyter notebook that we all love and use, and then in this Jupyter notebook, you just use kind of like, these commands from HANA AI, methods from HANA AI to put some natural text, and then it generates stuff that then Nora used as AI engineer. The thing is that in this case, I used code, right? And then there is an agent. And then yesterday, I asked our engineer in China if MCP server may be available for this. And he said, yes, I released it yesterday. So basically, what I'm showing you here literally didn't exist 3 days ago, or at least was not publicly available. Okay? So I will not comment on my interactions with this engineer because he's engineer and he's in China. And kind of like we had a lot of miscommunication once we were trying to understand what he delivered and what I can use. But at the end, hopefully it all worked. So let me just grab something that I had here that probably, or hopefully will not take too much time to execute, like use the forecasts, like for example, this statement. And then go to Cloud Code. And here, if we check MCP servers, you will see that now this HANA AI toolkit is available as an MCP server in my session. I don't know what to think about the fact that it still says connecting.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But apparently, it worked during Christian keynote when I was sitting in the first row. So let's check, right? So how many of you know what MCP server is? Okay, about a half. Don't you worry, we will have one more slide on that as well. So first we play smart people, and then we will try to explain what we are doing. But basically, you can see that now it is calling this HANA AI toolkit. It generates the Python that should be there, and then, yeah, kind of like you can go for coffee while we are waiting for the results. But at least something is happening, and I need to approve this again and again and again. And you know what? Actually, I have this in history. So while it is executing, this is the end of the execution, the end of thinking and using memory and brain and so on. And then it generated the file. And if I open this file, then this is the result. So basically, it just generated the comparison of the real forecast against the ground truth in this case. So basically, what I'm saying is that now you don't need to use this library only programmatically. You can just make it available as an MCP server. It has been available since 2 days, counting today, and I was the very first external user yesterday, and it works, as you can see. As long as I'm opening the proper notebook and I'm not confusing myself and therefore confusing you, it does work. So, going back to slides. So I didn't manage to put this MCP here on this slide, but are you familiar with this BTP library and with this layout of these architectural diagrams and so on? No? Do you like it? Okay, that's good. Because basically, I promised Nora that I will create all these diagram slides, and I hate doing that. So I would like to do another community.
Shout out?
Sorry?
Shout out?
Shout out, celebration, because I assume Marian is not here. No? So yesterday I thought, I heard in one of our developer news that we were saying that there is a skill now to generate this BTP architecture slides, right? And then it just took 1 minute to find Marian's blog post, and then it took, I don't know, 10 minutes to configure, brilliantly documented by him, this skill, and that was it. And then the rest was just Claude, to whom I tell how this diagram should look like. So it should be BTP, which services it is using, what is communicating with what, and then it would just like be going for 30 minutes. And at the end, this Nora slide, it has even check at the end that the SAP compatibility of the architecture diagram that was generated is 100 out of 100. For mine, it was 92 out of 100. So you see, the fewer components you have, the least compatible it is. So because this is recorded, I don't know where camera is. Thank you, Marian. Great job, great community contribution. I really liked. So yesterday I was going through 3 things that were released just this month, and I got all 3 of them working. I'm just trying to remember my projects when I was still a consultant, right? It would take half a year to get to where I got in 1 day yesterday. So we asked who of you have heard about MCP, and because we were dropping these all terms casually and so on. Nora, you want to say a few words about what MCP is?
I think you're doing great.
But you would do this better.
Didn't you have this nice thing? Oh no, someone else was drawing that in my code jam when they got the question. That was the shortest explanation for the differentiation of agent to agent and MCP that I heard before. So So basically, he said, for example, I'm just going to repeat that now because I kind of liked it. When you have two agents communicating to one another, so the communication is like this, you use A to A. Makes sense because it's called agent to agent. And when you want to go down, you use MCP.
Everyone understood? OK. If you didn't understand, this is the QR code for the so-called architecture center from SAP, and then this is where MCP and A2A are explained. And this is a must-to-have slides because we just went through another reorg in our team, and now we are in the office of CTO together with the guys who are responsible for architecture center. So I hope that they will appreciate the work that we are doing for them here as well. Hi, Philip. I hope that you are watching this recording. OK, so this is about MCP. This is A2A, right? So let me check that you understood. So if you want to show what A2A is, how do you show it? OK. And if you want to explain to someone MCP, how do you show it? OK. We are doing a great job here. So going back to agents, I mentioned this is a new thing. This is not a new thing, right? Like scientifically, it has been described in this book from 1995. But then when all of a sudden these agents came to corporate world, because if you remember, like for a long time, everyone in the corporate world was just focused on chats, right? So Joule is basically a copilot where you just chat with this. Everyone else was working on chats, and this just takes, one mind of one developer with the great idea who said that, you know what, let me experiment with GPT-4 and let me build something that this guy called Entrepreneur GPT. And I went to his GitHub repo and I scrolled through all commits all the way down just to find his very initial commit where he says, look, you are Entrepreneur GPT. You are given $100 and your goal is to increase this amount for me. The tools you are getting is Google search, reading notes, access to GPT-4, and you have long-term memory. And now go and make money for me. Yeah? And then this guy was doing this by himself, and he was just having fun. And then it was noticed by the guy by the name Andrej Karpathy. Anyone knows Andrej Karpathy? OK, those of you who do not know, this is the guy who basically, if he says vibe coding is the new thing, and he says this jokingly, everyone is taking this seriously, and then the whole industry going mad about vibe coding. So here, he saw what this one particular developer did, and he said, oh, there is a next frontier in prompt engineering. At that time, like context engineering were not the buzzes yet, and harness engineering didn't exist, and loop engineering didn't exist. So he said, this is a new frontier in prompt engineering, and you have cognitive loop. So basically, you have something that is running in the loop, and it just executes every single command as a prompt to the ChatGPT. And this is when all of a sudden everyone's just like, OK, Andrej noticed this thing, so it must be serious stuff. And this is how agents were born, not in Google Labs, not in SAP Labs, sorry about that, but in the brain of one single developer. And then the origins of agentic AI, anyone knows why all of a sudden, since July 7, everyone went mad about agentic AI? Just because the other guy, by the name Andrew Ng, said that there is a lot of discussions, just like, is it an agent or is it not an agent? Is it an agent? Is it not an agent? So let me call this agentic AI. And everyone was like, OK, Andrew said this is agentic AI. Let's go. So all I'm trying to say here is just like if you're looking at what Marian did, what this developer did with his Entrepreneur GPT, right now we are really living in the time where like one man can influence the whole industry, right?
Or one woman.
Sorry, one human being like Nora can influence the whole industry. And we just hope that, you are there. And before we finish, I don't know, any one of you remember Marek Kowalkiewicz? He used to be at SAP. He is now professor in Australia. And I really love his comparison that AI agents, are they AI agents or are they just digital minions? gazillion of them running there, trying to execute whatever it was told that they should do. They make lots of mistakes, they hallucinate, but at the end, they are achieving their goal. And the funny thing is that he has as well this presentation that you can watch on the YouTube, and I don't want to steal the punchline from him there, but it resonated as well with what Christian said today, just like they said HANA is coming and the DBAs will become obsolete. Now we are hearing AI is coming and it will make developers obsolete. So I believe that through this analogy we will see. So with that, thank you very much for your time.
Indeed. You don't need to send me the code. I copied all of that into my memory, and I'll just go ahead.
Hopefully in long-term memory.
Any questions? If not, oh, there's one. Yes, I'm coming.
Voila.
For the first one, I run, and then we throw.
Ah,
Just
okay.
speak into it very closely. That's the microphone.
Perfect. Okay, so my question is
Keep it closer.
actually not regarding Joule.
A little closer.
Yeah.
It's new for me. Sorry, Nora, it's not about Joule. It's actually about the HANA library.
It's fine.
So from my understanding, the HANA AI, HANA AI, is pushing down to the HANA ML, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really understand the connection because I know HANA ML, you can write your code in Python and then just push it down at a SQL. So in HANA AI, you do the same, and then what will be the next?
No, just like, as you rightfully said, you understand HANA ML procedures. I don't. Therefore, I'm using HANA AI, where I'm just instantiating the agent, and then it has all these skills which translate my natural language into these methods that you know and you understand as a developer. So basically what I'm saying is that this is another level of abstraction where we are going to the point where English now is the programming language for data scientists, right? So the way PAL algorithms are implemented in C++ inside of the HANA and then exposed through the SQL layer. And SQL layer is still a little bit too complex for the guys like me. So then there is HANA ML layer, which simplifies this in the form of the Python code and translates this into SQL. And now you go even one layer up, and with HANA AI, it translates your human language into HANA ML procedures and parameters and configurations, and then it is kind of like pushing all the way down to PAL. So basically, this is one of the aspects of HANA AI, but it doesn't work only with HANA ML. It allows you to work in natural language as well with vector engine and with some other stuff that if you join the closing keynote, you will show and hear more.
Can I explain it in one sentence?
Of course, yes.
It's basically like you put an assistant on top of all the things you do with HANA. You know, like you use Cloud Code with an MCP server for UI5. This is basically an assistant on top of HANA for you to just interact with it and have it do stuff for you.
That's perfect. That makes HANA more approachable.
Yeah.
So which answer did you like more?
Close.
You deserved a chocolate.
That was a very smart response.
Anyone else want a chocolate?
Up here, I'm running. So,
Who else wants a chocolate? You should have taken the chocolate, you know.
all right.
I need to hear the question first. Okay.
Okay, thank you at first for your very nice and interesting presentation. Can you share the price tags for what you did? I mean, in the sense of how many tokens did you burn for the various activities, and how many tokens to be burned I have to expect if I use this functionality?
Do you want to ask as well what was my rate when I was a consultant? What was my daily rate? I believe it was more than the number of tokens I burned.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, the prices are changing. They are quite volatile. I mean, how much token we have to expect to be used in these contexts?
Okay, I don't know about you, But for my part, one thing that a lot of people don't know and that I find very important to mention is that GenAI Hub, so when you use the LLMs through GenAI Hub, that's pay per use, right? So you pay per token, and you don't actually, like some people think you need AI Launchpad, for example, which is very expensive. You don't. You can do all of that just with AI Core. So I honestly have no idea about the Joule runtime, because this is one of the first times I've been using it, because I stayed away from it for a little bit. So I don't know about that part, but the token usage you can also calculate. There's a calculator online where you can check how much it costs, but it's pay per use and it's cents for tokens. And I didn't use many tokens, but I don't know about that part.
Do you want 1 second answer?
Maybe one next question. Do we have an MCP for this kind of token calculator so that we can upfront find out how much we're going to spend on various tasks?
No.
Okay.
But I know that our teams are working on more observability there, and there will be something coming.